Scene script. Take a pencil. Feel a texture with it. You seem to feel it at the pencil's tip. Yet, you have no sense organs way out there. So the brain extends some reality. All we see are the insides of our heads. A model of reality. No, you say. Well, it's the same model seen in your dreams, with your eyes closed and you in darkness too. Not only is seeing inside our heads, but also the hard, soft texture of touch, the sense of molecule shapes, and the sounds of airwaves again as in a night dream. Reality plays within our theater a wide-awake dream. What's really out there, I suppose, are waves and fields which our minds show in representative ways, Likert. The brain is like a TV tuner, reading waves that originate in out there entirely. Hard reality is usefully represented, similar to our dreams that seem so real. Scene script. Absolute reality is scentless, colorless, and quite soundless. However, sense organs detect waves and vibrations. That reality is painted upon. Hard reality is constructed by our brains, from a mass of frequency domains. As when sound waves turn into sound, so the apparent physical world is a portrayal. A full virtual reality can be enjoyed and directed in lucid dreams, where one can do anything at all without injury or penalty, with real feel. A simple four-way lookup senses taste by degrees of bitter, salt, sweet, and sour. And likewise done, the three-way colors, plus 10-plus-way facial recognition. Brains have parallel processors for form, texture, color, and depth, and a quick one for motion detection, which all combine later as what we see in unity. Consciousness is referred back in time a bit, like the tape delay of a live TV show, to hide the brain's processing time from us, making things seem to happen instantly. The now is 10/44ths of a second long, the frequency at which events appear over the horizon of consciousness, the succession of which gives us the view of time passing. Do you control your thoughts, or do your thoughts control you? Could you, silly as might seem, just be falling hook and line for your thoughts? Think deep. Thoughts may tell you the answer. We fall for our thoughts, hook, line, and sinker. Conditioned responses, reflexes, or overwhelming emotions, spurious or ancient, planted by evolution or unbalanced. The brain's decisions are determined by memories, associations, and learned behaviors right up to the instant. So, our decisions are predetermined. The free in free will has no real meaning unless we take it to mean random, that the will depends on nothing but dice rolls. What good would be such a brain anyway? Can you start or stop your thoughts? In other words, can you will that which does the willing? Try it. Oops, a surprise thought just came from the blue. You did not will it. The will is unfree. A hormone hunger pang, midway between a pain and a withdrawal symptom, makes you run to eat, well, that's okay, until another hormone signals satiation. Bonding hormones bring us closer together, pheromoning into lust, love, and relationships spurred onward by love-made endorphins, and so, yes, there must be chemistry in coupling. The mind is perhaps many little minds, each a simpleton awaiting control, such as when we eat, socialize, or fight, none of them very complex at all. Subconscious trains of thought vie for attention. The dueling choirs compete for first place in the mind's eye, consciousness, to produce future, for this is the main task of thought. The brain, with its 100 billion nerve cells, does all of our decision analysis, only making its results known at the last to the brain's highest level consciousness. People act robot-like when they know not the why of what they do, for decisions are made blind by brain networks just before they're presented to us in consciousness. Consciousness comes 300 milliseconds after the brain does its analysis, and thus has but last-second veto power, if allowed, over what the brain comes up with. Decisions are not made by consciousness, although this fine picture in the mind's eye, merely the brain's perception of itself, can be fed back for further analysis. Not much of what the brain does reaches consciousness. And even when it does, the mind's last to know. It's like a tourist, for decisions precede their awareness. Humans are like machines, going the way of their brains, genetics, and chemicals. But you, learning these secrets, rise above, and at least know that you are a machine. We're all robots, but no one notices. Since there are so many different kinds, which, though it makes life quite interesting, obscures the fact that the will is unfree. First-level people have beliefs and desires, but second-level people have beliefs and desires about their beliefs and desires, becoming able spectators of themselves.
Although our decisions of the instant are fully determined and are therefore not free, we may happen to learn new things and make choices tomorrow that we wouldn't make today. Everyone's wired differently, having their own private but valid perceptions due to genes, learning, and mental health. So each person is right to do what essay he does. Yes, robots we are, so therefore major changes like intro to extroversion, probably even hardwired, get harder as one grows older, perhaps impossible. Since personality is mostly genes and the rest is hardwired learned behavior, we can't expect to change others big time, so don't bother. We can still avoid them. More and more the myths of past ignorances give way to the solutions of science. For example, a person's life force and basic traits are her genetic blueprint. Life's still emotionally primitive. Negative feedback mechanisms in the central nervous system, some useless, still send thousands of years old messages. Emotions are but molecular events, some forced upon us all like jealousy, and some others like aggression, born from low serotonin, not from the devil. Low serotonin stems from genetics, stress, lack of exercise, or the wrong foods, and can cause anger, anxiety, and depression, even bad behaviors, crimes. Since the aggressive urges leading to sins are not caused by the the sinners are not to blame, although we still have to lock up the violent ones to protect ourselves. Prolonged coercive job stress can damage the immune system and brain transmitters and cause associated time stresses, sleep deprivation, and social problems. Sleep deprivation can cause accidents, immune system damage, and subsequent poor physical mental health, as well as memory loss, so get your 8 hours in. Hostility can stem from low serotonin when we fall for our thoughts, hook, link, and sinker, kicking the cat or the kids when we get home, rationalizing that they made us annoyed. Cravings are not free will, as much as one might like to think so. These imbalances may cause senseless irritability, nail biting, or the urge to overeat. Persistence of thought, known as obsession, is enabled by low serotonin. That same negative thought breeds depression. That same anxious thought induces panic. Odd that paroxetine can cure compulsion, panic, anxiety, and depression? No, for obsession is the casual route, as all involve the persistence of thought.
Persistence of thought is the curse that leads to great accomplishments through obsession, the driving force behind the creative arts. That driven sense which cannot be denied. Alcohol can raise serotonin in the short run, but decreases it long term, a doomed attempt at self-medication. But hold on, relief is being researched. Born without the enzymes that digest milk, she supplies it via lactate tablets. Born without the zymes that digest mood, Zoloft prolongs her mood regulators. Behavior modification can raise serotonin too. though not as quickly as medications like paroxetine. But it still works, it just takes longer. Behavior modification can change us too, for the worse if we see too much aggression, or do the same thing too long, such as overtime, getting well grooved into that same old rut. The highest zone is absolute happiness, though even the best can slip to well-being and sometimes down into the bearable zone. Next come the anger, apathy, and death zones. Once we drop into the anger zone, the analytical mind cuts out, giving way to the primitive reactive mind, a moronic state in which even beige seems black. The simple reactive mind thinks that, say, a perceived bad tone equals insult equals hate equals great anger equals lash out equals big fight equals kill equals death. The mind is quite weak in the fighting off of emotions, for they have a direct pathway into consciousness, bypassing the rational thinking part of the brain. Emotions usually take sole control, brain logic relegated to the sidelines, being ineffective against a mood. It's a wonder what's really is in charge. Reason and emotion are hard to coordinate, each having a separate pathway to the mind. That perhaps is all there is to tell about the miseries and follies of human history. Emotions are slow to react to logic, like molasses or slow-forming crystals, or not at all, like rocks blocking us. Unless and until they change, progress halts. Some ways that we think and feel depends but upon chemicals, neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin that fluctuate. So, how meaningful are strange moods? Let reactions sail on by, just observe them, but don't act on them. This puts some distance between you and your conditioned response, a space which grants a modicum of free will. When extreme thoughts arrive, uninvited as most thoughts do, we veto them, saying don't. For while we can never will that which does the unconscious willing, we have some free won't.
From its safe, subjective place that's free of fear, the soul, our conscious awareness, can witness the strange thoughts and emotions that surface on the mind, sent there by the subconscious brain. Conscious awareness, which can but witness, is a safe haven from which to observe the drama of our lives playing in our minds, granting us a sobering distance from it. Life should be euphoric, like spring fever, as in those rare moments of ecstasy when one is in the zone and cannot miss. So let all aversive substrates be removed. The higher modes of being that await the future chemically enhanced will make today's primitive mind state seem as a child's tin flute to a symphony. Some people are just a little bit crazy, with a mild mental ills, some genes awry. We call them inept, heartless, offbeat, even persistent but interesting. One has, say, a learning disability, so do equal opportunity programs, or diversity programs discriminate against the handicap of being just plain dumb? Why should the wetness of water result from the mix of hydrogen-oxygen? How can cells, blood, heart, and nerves make life? It is just so. So does matter make mind. Change the brain and consciousness changes too. Take drugs and the emotions change as well. Damage the brain and the mind's damaged too. Consciousness emerges only from the brain. The brain would be the mind and vice versa. So there is no need for the mind to turn the brain's water into wine if there's no wine that's separate from the water. Is consciousness emergent from the brain? Somehow a fundamental phenomenon? Could it be the brain perceiving itself, something we might like to call the mind's eye? Consciousness may be fundamental, like mass, space, and time, and would require no explanation, it just arising. Mind, it matters, matter, ever mind? Consciousness is irreducible in terms of basic entities, so could it be that the intrinsic properties underlying physical dispositions are experiential? Energy awareness could be the same ground of ultimate reality on which both quantum jumps/mind thoughts are built, leading to the matter of brain neurons. Pain's not the same as the nerves that cause it, yet a mind apart couldn't conserve energy. Therefore, our info exists in two ways, consciously and neurologically. Nature's made of occasions of experience instantiated into consciousness, even for electrons and lower life forms, though worms sense but a smudge of reality.
In identifying consciousness, we often confuse what is floating in the stream of consciousness with the water itself. Thus, we note not the sea in which we see. How is conscious reality realized? What directs the spotlight of attention? Who's the silent witness that can do none other? Who is the knower that does the knowing? I equals awareness of the mind state, but who or what then is this I? Observing, which is all I can do, transcending space. Could it be some ground of all being itself? Awareness can never be an object of observation because awareness is the very means whereby we observe. We can't see awareness since we are it. We can never really understand awareness, a subject, because it's not itself an object that we can be aware of. For the only tool we have to use on it is awareness itself. Since the eye of our awareness, that can but observe the mind's content, is not what it sees, it is the universal subject, a soul of unperceptive immortality. In consciousness, there's no distance between the thing observed and what is observing. They are perhaps one and the same, and so it is that we seem to have a self. I am not this body or even this thought, for I am a part of space-time itself, although I require a mind-brain to look. For this, indeed, produces what I look at. The soul of awareness might be a basic property of space-time that can but observe the self. The contents of the brain, that is, the portion that's currently on display, the Midas magic of our consciousness, that quantum alchemist of potential, creates the real from the possible, for everything it touches turns to matter. In the eerie quantum world, all possible and potential realities exist at once in a superposition until one emerges into reality. Electrons as waves are all spread out, and as such are nowhere, having no position, but they have direction. As particles they reside someplace but have no momentum, without a position and momentum. At the same time, electrons have no objective reality at all. They go from here to there with no in-between. Subatomics exist everywhere, yet nowhere until they interact or seen by consciousness. So, now we sense they're like the selfless states of meditation. Do photons know they are being measured? By sending out an offer wave through both slits at once, then receive the handshake of acceptance through just one slit and go there.
Many worlds. One photon unmeasured by man does go through both slits, showing wave interference because, well, it may split the world in two, one that we stay in and one that we don't. Eerie similarities. Minds seem to sense in another dimension, collapsing possibilities into reality, much like subatomic non-local effects that link twin particles which are far apart. The mystery solved by Bohm. Does back action of a particle on its pilot wave in concert with the wave's guidance create the elan vital, the stuff that consciousness is made of? The elan vital, a particle's back action may be zero on its guide wave, becoming randomness, but at the mind-brain level, could the brain feed back to the mind's guide wave and vice versa? The well of being, the quantum substrates, the mother of all, of both matter and consciousness. The quantum mind tries out new ideas through scenarios of consequences. The buck stops here. Does Atlas underlie the universe, standing upon the back of a turtle?
Is there an eternal basic substance, or is it turtles all the way down? Composite entities. A God who is a person would, like us, be dependent on and exist after the ground of ultimate reality, and so could not in itself be its own cause. We are it. A God which is not a person would be the ground of ultimate reality, energy, awareness, or what you like, the source of which forms is our consciousness. Human nature. God said to Adam and Eve in Eden, "Do what you like, but don't eat the apple." Even we know that when you tell children not to touch something, they certainly will. Forbidden thoughts. Thoughts good and bad come and go as the brain looks at itself without assigning values. Still, lucky that others can't read our minds, though forbidden thoughts are normal and sane. Just think of it. If you try hard not to think of something, then you will just think of it all the more. So, if told to avoid impure thoughts, you'll think of people naked beneath their clothes. A poor example. He murders by flame and flood, he tortures, he entraps, he blames us for his mistakes, he holds grudges for our ancestors' sins, he throws tantrums and fits, his name, God's sakes. Poor craftsmanship. Who's to blame for the genetic defects that lead to social misfits, obsessors, and other special personalities? Did the Maker's hand shake when he made us? The way it is, only a fool would blame his own creations for the flaws therein for his poor craftsmanship. So rejoice, there's no maker of man. These flaws provide for interesting character types. Hallucinations and voices. The founders of the religions were all divinely inspired, but were each told a different story. Now we know that their visions were but psychotic episodes.
Well, actually, really, the quieting of the brain's self-boundary ID center during focus on mantras, hymns, or prayers is a neurological effect and nothing more. The so-called near-death experience of bright lights and a peeking into heaven is but a flood of opiate endorphins causing hallucinations and calmness. Does awareness, our soul, have any will before birth or after death without a brain and a mind for memory, senses, and decisions? No, not as we know it. If souls are eternal, then where were they during the eternity before births? Non-existence is non-existence, whether it comes before or after a lifetime. There can be no distinct and enduring personal identity after death, for brainless, mindless souls share with others the basic ground of existence, space-time. The Christian concept of reward and punishment handed out by an omnipotent, omniscient God is derivative of the family experience, the child and parent, a conception of our world. Most deep religious beliefs are shaped by little more than local social forces, Jewish, Buddhist, Islamic, Christian, or none. So then, how deep and meaningful are they? The chimps, with whom we share 98% of our DNA through common ancestors, are just about as special as we are, for they have consciousness and feelings too. God is merely the quantum wave function of the entire universe, hardly some vengeful and overly emotional superbeing who thrives on adoration. Energy is eternal, for it can neither be created nor destroyed, being made but of itself, omnipresent. It's the mother of all reality. The universe is the ultimate free lunch, it bubbling out of nowhere into now here, from the quantum foam via strings or quarks, the ground of ultimate reality. The universe bubbled out of nothing, pluses forming matter, minuses residing in forces, all in perfect balance, self-sufficient, needing nothing outside of itself, zilch. I'm the all in the one, omnipresent, for I'm eternal and can neither be created nor destroyed, being my own cause and the ground of all. I am energy. Time, too, has a shape in 4D space-time, and thus, like space, could have an existence before the birth of the universe, so creation didn't have to wait forever.
Evolution had no real direction except what was advantageous to life. However, since we are here, the tendency to exist was in matter all along. We cannot see beyond the quantum realm. The dusk of physical science arrives. Well, who knows, for nature is efficient, so likely simple answers will appear. Physics, once more direct, is now but an immaterial science of math shadows, while mysticism, once but a fogged notion, claims the direct observation of the light. People can't usually ever see further than an order of magnitude beyond where they are rutted, but some can intuit ultimate reality. It's said in my dreams, of ever waking, it's hard to convince you in dream language as when in wakeful reality to tell you of that which is beyond telling. During meditation, one clears the mind, and so then there is no self, just one quail, a near nothing hinting that you are. Is this what it's like to be an electron? Meditation shifts intention away from controlling and acquiring toward acceptance and observation one takes in instead of acting upon. Enlightenment's not grasped or possessed, for acquisitive aim locks the secret out, the same mentality that one begins with. This is why the secret protects itself. The spiritual refers to profound connection, though not through visions or ecstatic emotion, but by the experience of connectedness that underlies reality and nothing more. Awareness is the ultimate being, fundamentally connecting with ground. It cannot be known in terms of worldly objects. It's like, well, you have to be there. Meditation relieves the survival self, shifting attention from acting to allowing, from emotional identification to observation, from instrumental thinking to receptive experience. Meditation, renunciation, and service are not really mysterious, just different from the usual object-oriented approach. Mysticism is modern and ancient, not esoteric. In serving the task, one forgets the self, accessing the world's connected aspects, going beyond self-centered states of mind, since the survival of mankind is at stake. Being is to doing as ground is to figure, as subject is to object, as essence is to existence, as awareness consciousness is to mind-brain, as the ultimate simplicity is to the composite. The connectedness of everything to everything, a rudimentary perception in and of itself, experiential in its ultimate physical disposition, facilitates our consciousness of interior and exterior.
Cosmic soul. 3D objects encoded into 2D project as 3D holograms when laser lit. So add dimension to your encoded self by shining a spiritual light through it. Consciousness really explained. Consciousness mediates thoughts versus outcomes and is distributed all over the body. From the nerve spindles to the spine to the brain, a way to actionize before moving. The theory of everything. Awareness is all there is. Look no further. Its swirling energy gives a presence and a knowing to waves and particles that leads in part to our consciousness. Everything is possible. Are we encodings of what happens in the next lower dimension, in the deep interior of the unseen bubble where everything connects to is everything? The fifth dimension. Are we the encodings of holograms which really exist in a lower dimension? Where everything relates to everything, that non-locale where awareness resides? The all is in the one. All things are infinitely connected, as in a hologram. Each part contains the whole. Everything interpenetrates everything. The universe is a seamless web of information. Quantum memory. In the brain's memory, every piece of info is cross-correlated with every other piece, which allows instant access and association. Memories could be stored holographically. The prison. I can never share a mind directly, for there is no access. We are alone. Mind melding works only for the Vulcans. This loneliness leads us to company. Loneliness. The unbearable solitude of consciousness is relieved by literature, social clubs, movies, caring, friendships, discussion, writing, and other sharing acts, but mostly by love. The devil is dying. 600 ago, the church thought that ills of a physical nature were caused by evil spirits. However, now we know they're from bacteria and viruses. The devil is dead. Now the church thinks that ills or sins of a mental nature are caused by the devil, an evil spirit. However, now we know of brain chemistry gone astray. Role model. Is God a good role model, a leader, someone that we would follow, imitate, emulate, be like, adore, or follow? Well then, what would his example provide? Not to follow. We could jail people for the sins of their ancestors, exterminate humanity, allow known evil to exist and tempt, and devise devious entrapment plans. Bad role model. We could have temper tantrums and outbursts, envy, or not permit competitors. Grant free will only if it matched our own and covet worship, adoration, and praise. Zero-sum game, plus and minus from nothing, came to be. But while most charges rejoined, some went free. The pluses forming matter, energy, and the minuses forming gravity.
Mind and matter are made of the same stuff, that substance made only out of itself. Mind experiences the present moment. Matter records the present from the mind. That is, present mind, past matter. Combine the frames of space and time into the film that lives and plays in us as consciousness, mind taking space and matter doing time. Could mind matter stems from the eternal substance / space-time / experiential being? For life's great riddle of oneness is that mind really matters. Matter ever minds. The right to act ends where others begin. There is no excuse, zilch, for tactlessness. For if done, it causes damage, surely bringing down yourself and the others too. When a tree falls in the forest and there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? No, for there is no ear to turn. The sound waves into sound, nor is there a smell, for there is no nose for the odorous molecules to attach to. Nor has it any color, for there is no retina to decode the light frequencies. What does it look like then? It doesn't look like anything, for there is no brain to put it all together by detecting form, color, texture, size, taste, smell, or vision. Since the entropy of a black hole is known to depend on the surface area of the event horizon and not on its volume, then our third dimension might be a projection. A projected illusion, as in a hologram, may still be used as it were really there, since we can make sense of it, so to speak, but in truth, the third dimension may not exist. Thus, apparently separate particles, like created photon pairs, copy the other when one is changed, because in truth, they are still the same thing in the projector room. If the universe is holographic, then the tree in the forest, whether seen or not, is at heart an interference pattern brought to life only when we tune it in. This is the mystery of the realness of sleeping dreams revealed. We tune in to the interference patterns, whether awake or asleep, to bring alive the reality projected. Everything connects to everything else through overlapping interference patterns, and so nothing is separate at all, as it seems, but is one large, all-encompassing whole. Memory too seems to be holographic, residing everywhere in the brain, every piece associated with others related, instantly broadcasting all the connections.
Every part of a hologram contains the whole universe contained within a grain of sand, all eternity within a moment, the universe rumbling when an electron vibrates. We are part and parcel of everything. We are the cosmos. We are life. We are love. We are all that is. We are the creator of the dance as well as the dancer. Whether the past is recorded and accessible as part of the holographic whole is not known, or whether the other two dimensions are projected as well, but perhaps we shall see. This then is the secret of the universe, knowing of that which underlies all reality, fundamental, absolute, indestructible, ever-present totality and all-pervasive. Why absolute and fundamental? Because it is made of one piece itself and therefore indestructible and eternal too, and makes up all that there is everywhere. Perhaps matter is more than just equivalent to energy if it were transformed, and more than equal to it more or less. It would be that matter is energy. Perhaps energy is projected by information or is a part of our reality illusion as well, but we can't stand on turtles all the way down. Only 4% of the universe consists of the matter we know and love, the remainder being dark and hidden, so perhaps this is what's really in charge. The essence of the universe was forever here, for nothing can make itself from nothing at all. Such a state of nothing could never be, for there is something that consciousness interprets. The infinite may radiate through a matrix using information or energy to create the cosmic background antenna which broadcasts interference patterns of virtual reality. Well, how can I save the soul consciousness? It may create potentials quantum-like that give rise to the reality of the mind and body, so use it wisely. Choose what is good for everyone, not just you. After careful philosophic thought, then do it, even though your natural inclination may be not to do it. The secrets of the universe are all found. All exists out of awareness, the ground. Blame, soul, free will, and God all have fallen, but it will take thousands of years to sink in.